if there's any audio issues, please let me know. Let me know. I would appreciate that. And I'll try my best to rectify it as quickly as I can. But yeah, excited for the session. Interesting stuff. I have a cool case study that I'm about to share. And yeah, okay. So I think without any further ado, let's get into it. Firstly, welcome to another information session hosted by the brand Sports Solutions. My name is Kevin Blöchlert and I'm the CEO and founder of this brand. And like many of you guys know already, if you have joined the course, if you have joined the program rather, or the club, you will know and understand that the problem that this brand Sports Solutions is tackling is poverty in sports, right? Just some big stats, 60% of NBA athletes, some of the highest paid athletes in the world, right? 60% of them within 5 years of retirement go broke, right? So that's a ridiculous stat. What's more ridiculous is the NFL, okay? Also, again, one of the highest paid sports or athletes people in the world, right? 78% of them go broke within 2 years of retirement. So it's a real issue. I mean, if this is happening to some of the highest paid athletes in the world, you can only imagine what's happening to the lower income earners in the space. So that's a problem that we are solving, and we know how to solve that problem. It is simply by building your personal brand. The idea behind our theory is if you become valuable as a person, right, you will always be needed in life, which means you will always be open to earning a salary or to earning royalties. Okay, so this is our third lesson. I think let's get straight into it. My phone is here just to make sure that no technical issues are happening on that side. So that's the idea. But anyway, so this is our third lesson, right? We've already covered the basics of the first two steps that you need to take in order to build your brand. So the aim that we are trying to get is, the aim that we are going after is building your personal brand or building whatever brand you need to build within 6 steps. Okay, so we're already at step number 4. I think this will be step number 4. Although it is the third week that we are doing it, we actually combined 2 of the steps last week together. So today will actually be step number 4. And it is by far one of the most important steps you will come across in your lifetime. Because personally, I am a massive beneficiary of this step. And I'll explain why. The reason why we have a case study today is simply because I'm leveraging off of this step. Okay, so the idea is basically to try and improve as often as we do this. So how we can improve is actually by building on relationships, asking the people who actually want to give you good advice for the betterment of your brand, for the betterment of your career, for the betterment of your sport, right? You need to be getting good advice from certain people. So definitely something that you want to listen to. I don't think you should take notes, but yeah, that's up to you. However you choose to learn, that's your thing. Okay. So the first 2 steps was, the first 3 steps was what? Identifying the space that you want to operate in as a brand, as a person. So that's identifying the space, coming up with the problems in that space, and then also coming up with the solutions to solve the problems in that space, right? We then also have to go and do research to see how others have solved the problem or how they have presented their solution to the problem. Why it's good to do research. It's amazing to do research. And basically you can learn from other success, right? Because success always leaves clues. So that's why we have to go and do research, come back with the idea of what you are then going to want to do. That's still within the first step. Your second step is then about marketing, right? And something that I forgot to mention last week, after you've devised this marketing idea in your mind, right? The next step or the follow-up step to the marketing strategy that you have is to actually start getting content. So content, the best way that you can get content, and it's so simple. A lot of people believe that they have to go and create the content. You can do that. The problem with that is it takes a while. It takes a while for you to create something, cut something, edit something, put some background music to it, put some effects to it. It takes time. right? It takes time. So a different strategy that you can use is, and it's a guaranteed success strategy, this, when you are pushing your content, record whatever you are doing. That's how you begin to build your content. So if you are in the coaching space, you're a coach, right? Start taking videos of you on the field, right? Start breaking the videos down. I mean, give your phone to a friend of yours, your assistant coach or your head coach or whatever, the kit guy or the sports guy that's running up on the field. Give your phone to them. Ask them to take a quick 30-second video of you breaking down the drill. Hey, my name is Coach X, right? And this is my expertise. What we are about to do right now is do some finishing drill. So this is the idea of the finishing drill. This is what we're focusing on. And then you take the camera and start recording the stuff. Simple. That's what you need to do. So if you use that sort of strategy, you will never run out of content. Why? Because you are always doing exactly what your brand is about. Okay, so that's something that you need to think about. And yes, something that I forgot to mention, after you've created the strategy, is start. Just start. There will never ever be perfect conditions for you to start your brand. Never. Right? So you have to look at where you are right now and realize that this is the perfect place for you to start a brand. It's the perfect place for you to start a new project. It's the perfect timing. It's the perfect timing. I was at a conference on Sunday, right? A friend of mine, we have this channel, it's called Get Up and Do Something Africa. And the end part of the conference, we spoke about entrepreneurship, right? And there's something that this speaker said that actually it struck a nerve, right? And what he said was, as an entrepreneur, you start your entrepreneurial journey, there will never be a perfect time. So the perfect time is now, basically, right? You will never have the perfect conditions. It will never be perfectly set up. That's a lie. You have this shooting star moment and boom, oh damn, now is the time to actually do the thing. No, that will never happen. So you just have to kind of figure it out and start. That's exactly what I've done. On the first call, we had one person. It was a friend of mine, one person. By the second week, we had 5 times more people on the call or 6 times more people on the call. Today, I'm hoping to get at least 15 people on the call. And why that's cool is because the goal, it's part of the goal that I set, which is part of our strategy, which is part of the stages, which is part of stage 2 and stage 3 that we discussed last week. So without further ado, let's get into this stage number 4. Stage number 4, critical to you actually building the brand and succeeding as the brand. Okay, so that stage is now stage number 4. What you really need to do when you are building your brand is build strategic relationships. Build strategic relationships. Okay, you cannot get away from it. Right? Every successful brand in the world use this strategy. They have built strategic relationships. They have found people, they have found organizations, or they have found brands that they can partner with and leverage off of. Okay, so that's the next step. That's what you need to do now when you are building your brand. For the next week, you need to go and build strategic relationships. So because you already have an understanding of the area or the space that you want your brand to operate in, right? Or you have an idea of what you would like your brand to be about, you then need to go and find strategic partnerships that actually speak the same message. Or if you don't speak the same message, find a way, find people, organizations, or brands that can help leverage your own brand, that can help leverage your own, elevate your own message, that can elevate your own brand, that can take your brand to different levels. I am a massive beneficiary of this. My entire sport career, right, is based off of strategic partnerships, no doubt, right? And I've had a pretty decent career. I traveled a lot. Been to like 4 or 5 different countries with the sport that I was involved in. And that was all through strategic relationships that I had set up. Right? Even my academic career, getting into the academic systems that I'm at a master's level. I have a master's degree now. That entire process of me firstly getting into university, I was rejected in the first place, right? So when I did my exam marks for a matriculant, or I wrote it in grade 11, right? So you write your grade 11 to get into university. My grade 11 marks were not good enough. So the university rejected me, right? They rejected me. They told me, no, dude, you're not smart enough to come here, right? But what did I do? I went through strategic relationships. I knew someone who knew someone who knew how to pull strings, right? And next thing you know, I'm in university. I'll give you another example. That transition between second year and third year, right? I was blocked because I had failed, I think, 2 subjects in my second year. So I wasn't even supposed to go on to my third year. But because I knew someone, I had strategic relationships with people. So I knew someone who knew how to pull the strings. And because of that, I was then advancing to my third year. The same thing happened with my honors. The same thing. My marks weren't necessarily good enough, or I wasn't in so the classes you were looking at about a top 100. I was not in the top 100, right? I was not in the top 100, and that basically qualifies you to get onto the next degree, especially when there's a lot of traffic or there's a lot of interest in that degree. You need to be within your grade, within the subject that you were studying, you need to be in the top 100, and that basically is like a free pass to the next level. I was not in the top 100, but I knew people. I knew people that knew how to pull strings. I had strategic relationships, and I was advanced into the honors level. I did the same thing with my master's degree. My honors, I had ended up with like a 63 or 64% average, which is not master's average, right? So what did I do? I turned to my relationships. And again, I was then passed on and pushed through into the master's level, and now I have my master's degree, right? Luckily now, I think I do have the marks that are actually good enough to qualify me for a PhD, which is what this information that we're covering now, this is what my PhD is going to be on. So I don't think I'll be using my strategic relationships for the doctorate. But anyway, but definitely, this is something that is absolutely key. Absolutely key. You want to succeed in life, you have to partner strategically with people, organizations, and brands. Okay, so when you are partnering with people, something that I just want you to think about, it's called a mastermind. Okay, so the mastermind is the group of people that firstly you trust, that will give you good advice, good information, and that genuinely wants to see you as a person succeed in life. That's not everyone, but that's cool. You just need to find the people who do want to see you succeed, sit down around the table with them, and bounce off your ideas. Bounce off the design and the idea of your brand, whatever your brand wants to achieve. Go and develop strategic, go and sit down with your mastermind and actually discuss your brand. They will actually come up with solutions that you didn't even think about. You didn't even think about the answers. They'll come up with crazy solutions that you would have only thought about 5 or 6 stages down the line. Okay, so that's why sitting with a mastermind, people have expertise in different areas, right? They will give you the solutions and you can actually succeed a lot quicker. I want to give you a statement. This is a statement made by Napoleon Hill. If you don't know him, go and check him out. He's dead now. But the imprint and the footprint that he made whilst he was alive was absolutely amazing. He wrote books back in like early 1900s, 1905, 1900, somewhere there, right? So I studied this guy anyway. So he describes the mastermind as this. He says it's a group of friends that come together to solve problems, right? But the secret behind the mastermind is that when you get into a good mastermind, it becomes impossible for you to fail. Right? Wouldn't you like that odds? Guaranteed to succeed. Damn, you want to do that? Get a mastermind. Get a mastermind. So when you have a mastermind, it is impossible to fail. But something else that is said about the mastermind, which you need to hear, and I am living proof of this. I'm living proof of this. I started my sport career, whatever the case may be, when I was about, let's say from the technical staff, that when I was sitting on the bench doing the coaching and stuff, I was maybe about, let's say eight years in the industry. And within that 8 years, right, starting as a teenager, within that 8 years, I traveled, I did all those things that I told you about. I represented 2 countries, I worked at a university, I've been promoted to lead sports scientist, which means I was in charge of training other sports scientists, right? I was a tutor within the sports space. I represented 2 different countries. So this all happened within that 8 years. And I know that it's only because I leaned on strategic partnerships. And at the time, it was my mastermind. Right, so when you have a mastermind, you are guaranteed to succeed, or it becomes impossible for you to fail. So something that you need to think about. Build strategic relationships with people. That's very important. Okay, Build strategic relationships with organizations. This is also very important. Or even brands. Let's put them together so that we can get to the question stage. So these two categories are actually very important. So when you are building strategic relationships with brands and organizations, make sure that they speak the same language as you. Don't partner with someone simply because they want to give you money. Okay, it might work in the short term, but over the long term, it might be disastrous for your personal brand. Right, you partner with a company, they're going to pay you X amount of money, they caught up in some sort of corruption, they go down. You are the person that's been punting them, been pushing them, been speaking about them, been admiring them, been endorsing them. They've gone down for corruption. What do you think is going to happen to your personal brand? They will associate you with whoever you were endorsing. Okay, so it's important that you be strategic about the people you partner with. Don't think short term when you are building a brand. Right, think long term. Yes, your sporting career as an athlete or as a coach, whatever, might be X amount of years, but you have life beyond those years. Right, even though a sporting career on average is about 5 years, 3 to 5 years, that's the average, right? Playing at the highest level. It's about 3 to 5 years. After that 3 to 5 years is done, you still have another 30, 40 years of life left. Right, and if you do this well, if you actually build strategic relationships and you do it well, right, you can actually have a greater life than you did within your playing career or within your athletic career. So that's how you have to think about it. Just because you're in the sports space, getting that contract is not the highlight of your life. It might be the highlight of the season, or it might be the highlight so far, but there is still life beyond that contract. Okay. And even if you are an amateur, you learn these things. You can actually begin to succeed as an amateur athlete, start earning revenue as an amateur athlete. You can do that by partnering strategically with these sort of people, with organizations, and with brands. Okay. So the difference between organizations and brands, an organization is just a business. It's just a business. They give you a service, they give you the product, and that's it. A brand has a community. Right, a brand lasts so much longer than an organization. So much longer. Organizations change. They say the lifespan of an organization is what? If they pass the 3 to 5 year mark, they've been successful. That's ridiculous. Let me give you an example. Sesame Street, which my son is definitely part of their community, they've been running for 50 years. Don't you want to do something that gives you that much of life, that has such a long lifespan? 50 years. 50 years, that's what brands do. And how they do that is they leverage off of their community. Right? And how they do that is by partnering strategically with people inside of their community. That's what they do. Okay, so that's the next step. That's the next step to you building a brand. This is step number 4. Go and build strategic relationships. Find the people. It's simple. Okay, you have the brand. You know what your brand is about. You know the problems that you are solving with your brand. Find people that are speaking your language. See how you can leverage. See how you can leverage from one another so that you can create without sounding fortune cookie-ish, you should create an environment where both of you succeed. If your brand is increasing and improving, your relationships, the people who you have strategic relationships with, their brand also needs to be improving. Okay, and I know exactly how you can do this. I've done it. This morning, this happened to me. I was a part of an organization. I built a strategic relationship with an organization who is now going to be transformed into a brand. That's the meeting that I had this morning. But like I told you, I'm starting this process with you. Stage 1 for you is also probably stage 1 for me. I might have been slightly ahead because of the research that I've been doing and inserting it here and there. All of that stuff is available anyway, right? But like I told you, we're starting this journey together. We're doing this together. So the things that I'm telling you to do, I am doing as well. Why? Because I need to prove my own theory. And I know it's right because I've done the research. I know how to do research. So now I've just put that into a product and service that I'm giving and delivering to you. But yeah, so you need to be building strategic relationships. That's your next step. If you can build strategic relationships, you are well on your way to building a brand that will last for a lifetime. Okay, cool. So let's get into the case study. This is something that I think you need to hear. You need to hear. It blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind how simply by leveraging of relationships, you can earn close to $26 million. $26 million. Okay, so the case study that I have for you today is Virat Kohli. So if you're a cricket fan, you will know this guy. Like, this guy is supposed to be the superstar of cricket. He's the CR7 of cricket, as they say. Right? I don't watch cricket, so. But anyway, like I told you, the same thing that Ronaldo is using, Virat Kohli is also using. The same steps, the same principles, the same strategies. Virat Kohli has used, Cristiano Ronaldo has used. Coca-Cola has used these same things. Stephanie McMahon and WWE, the brand WWE, has used these same things. The Premier League that we watch so religiously have used the same things. So if you follow these things, the Premier League alone, if you understand their model, if you understand their business model, right? They are equal shareholders. The brand Premier League are equal shareholders with each of the clubs that are playing that season. Equal shareholders, people. They have struck organizational relationships, strategic relationships. So they've struck it with the organizations, which is the different teams. Right. So even if you look, okay, no, I don't want to babble on. So let's get into Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli, right? He's on the Forbes top 100 athlete earners, right? He's the only cricket player to be on that list. That's very interesting, right? Very interesting. The only cricket player, and there's thousands of cricket players. Cricket players in the USA. There's cricket players in the West Indies, India, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. You know, there's World Cup winners that have not even had the exposure that this man has had. And if you look at what this guy has done, literally his success right now, the wealth that he is building, right? The wealth that he is building is based off of strategic relationships. So I'm going to explain that to you now. So you have Virat Kohli earning $26 million a year annually, right? What's shocking to me is only 9% of this amount, of the 26 million, comes from a sports salary. Only 9%. That's shocking. That's shocking. He's a professional athlete, but his wealth is not built through the sport. No, he's leveraging, and this is exactly what the message is. Leverage off of sport to build whatever you need to build. Leverage off of it. Use your sports status as a trampoline to get to the next level. That's exactly what he's done. Only 9% of his annual earnings come from his sport. That's amazing. Which means he is winning in every other way through strategic relationships. He has partnered with people like Puma. He's partnered with energy drinks. He's created his own clothing line through Puma as well. They created a leveraging opportunity there for one another. Virat Kohli, right? I don't know if I'm saying the surname right, but Virat Kohli or Kohli, whatever you want to say, the Puma model has duplicated the Nike model with Virat Kohli. So just like how you have Air Jordans, you now have Virat Kohli's brand, which is, I think it's 8-1, something like that. 8-1 Puma. And it's an urban clothing design. That's it. That's what he does. So he does khakis, he does tracksuits, t-shirts, that sort of thing. But the idea, what I want you to understand is only 9% of his salary, 9% of his yearly earnings come from his sport. Yet he's earning 26 million. That's shocking. That's shocking, which once again proves that talent and your sport-centering mindset is what actually causes people to be broke. It's that misconception. Okay. But yes, so that's it. That's the message. That's the case study that I have for you this week. I'll come back every week. I'll be giving you different sort of case studies that are as shocking as this one. But only 9% of his annual earnings, 9% of his salary through sport comes from, 9%, I don't know why I'm babbling. 9% of his, of the 26 million of the 26 million, 9% comes from his salary in sport. The rest comes from the relationships that he's built. And he's built those relationships with people. If you study his agent, he's built relationships with organizations. This is the energy drinks that he's partnered with. And he's also built relationships with brands, which is the Puma, which means they have their own community. So Puma's brand, Puma's community is benefiting because Virat Kohli has a community of his own. And that's a perfect leveraging opportunity. So that's it. I'm going to close the session right now. We only have about 10 minutes or so left. So if there are any questions, I'm going to ask you to drop it down in the chat box and I will do my best to answer them. So yeah, that's it. Okay, Usain Bolt on the list. Okay, cool. You want a quick case study on Usain Bolt? I will do my research. I'll do my research. I'll try to see if I can find a case study on Usain Bolt. Yeah, because I know he's also partnered with Puma, right? Fastest athlete in the world. I think that was the campaign. But yes, we can definitely do something with Usain Bolt in the future sessions. If there are any other questions, please drop it down in the chat box right now. Let's see if we can answer them. Did I understand that question correctly? If I didn't, please let me know. Do you want a case study on Usain Bolt? Because you mentioned that you want to put Usain Bolt on the list. Top 100 earning athletes, I don't know. I have to go and do the research. Maybe at the time when he was competing, probably. But I also do know that as an athlete, every race that you win, you sort of get paid. So if you are just belonging to the sport, you are not going to get paid a lot. I mean, he's probably getting about 200 to 350K for his gold medals. So per race that he's won a gold medal, he's gotten about 200 to 350K. That's usually the area that they work in there. Okay, cool. Brands versus organization. Okay, cool. Okay, so let me go over it again. So organizations is just a basic business, right? Let me give you an industry that is full of organizations. It has no brands, and I'll explain the difference. In an organization, let's look at the hotel industry. The hotel industry is full of organizations, full of it. You have, why I'm saying it's full of it, because people don't necessarily, they'll log on to trivia and they'll find the cheapest one available. They'll look at 4 stars and they'll choose the cheapest one. They're not going after a particular name. They are not associating their holiday with a particular name. Or everything that they do when it comes to traveling, they don't put a name next to it. Right. Whereas a brand, people will choose Nike because they belong to the Nike community. As soon as a sneaker comes out, I have to get it because I belong to the Nike community. Right. People actually collect brands. They collect the products of brands. So you'll have 6 or 7 different types of Nike shoes. Where in a hotel chain, which is an organization, you really don't care. You just want to find a 4-star hotel that can give you whatever it is you need at the cheapest price. So when it comes to brand, there's no price differentiation. If Puma and Nike launch a tacky on the same day, those who are after Puma will go to Puma. Those who are after Nike will go to Nike. Same thing with phone. You have LG, you have Samsung, you have Apple. These are brands. When they release a phone on the same day, people who are after Woolies is also another brand. It's a brand. People will choose Woolies. Doesn't matter what the price it is that they are paid. They're not price conscious when it comes to their loyalty to the brand. I hope that makes sense. So if for example, the example I was making, if LG, Apple, and Samsung all launch a phone, a brand new phone on the same day, those who are after LG will go to LG. Right. Those who are after Apple because they've had iPhone 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they are brand conscious, they will buy their brand. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, cool. That means I've done well. That's a great comment. Okay, cool. Next, any more questions? If there aren't any, I would like to then close the meeting. I would like to then close the meeting, and obviously we can dialogue via WhatsApp. If you have any questions there that you need answering, drop me a message there. Please let me know what you think about the blog that I've kind of set up. It's a a brand building and lifestyle blog. So the idea is basically to share information on both aspects. And yeah, that's basically it. Why? Because I'm trying to add value to you. So that's it. I think there are elements that you will actually you can take from the lifestyle part and add that into the brand element, and there's brand elements that you can take into the lifestyle part. But the idea behind it is just to add value. I want to add value. Oh yes, very quickly. How you can actually build strategic relationships, and this is key, very quickly. You have to add value. Okay, so find the places, find the opportunities where you can improve on someone, or you can improve the person, you can improve the organization, or you can improve the brand. You might not have to improve the brand, but you can open the brand up to something they never had before. I'll give you an example. I am in communication right now with a brand called, well, they're not a brand yet, they're an organization, with an organization called Render Forest. Okay, so when I speak to Render Forest, I'm telling them about the African market, and that I can give them access to the African market. That's something that they don't have. I'm adding value. I'm not changing their product. I'm not telling them, hey, you people suck. I'm actually telling them, look, guys, okay, you guys are doing well wherever you are doing well. I think your platform is good enough to actually be broadcasted across the entire continent of Africa. Let me help you do that. I can add value. I'm giving you something that I haven't had before. That's how you can also develop strategic partnerships. So yeah, I think that's it. That's it. Okay. Any more questions? If there are no more questions, I'm going to end the session, and we will pick it up again next week. Let's give about 1 minute. Can we do 1 minute? Okay. 1 minute. Just checking for questions. And also, please drop feedback. I love, I don't think I'm allowed to say, but the person who dropped the latest comment is actually a coach, a top class coach. So if you can also please just drop your comments. What are you thinking about the session? Please let me know how we can improve it. Yeah, I think that would definitely be something that we want to hear. Definitely something that we want to hear. Okay, so it seems there are no more questions. And on that note, I'm going to end the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and we will see you back. No, we'll actually see you on the blog, or we'll be in communication via the blog. So that's it. Thank you so much. You can let yourself out. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for coming in. And yeah, we'll see each other in the next session. That's it. Peace.